to a Amar of Papa. 4 lines down from the top. Amar of Papa. So k'machlokas liyuchsin kach machlokas le'inyan gitin. Just as they argued about the boundaries of Bavel for where the good yichus is within the bounds of those borders. So there was a dispute about where those borders are. Kach machlokas le'inyan gitin. The same applies to defining Bavel for Gitin. Rav Yosef says no, the machlokas is only about Yuchsin, but for Gitin, everybody holds that that the upstream boundary, the northern boundary of Bavel, is the second willow swamp past the bridge. Okay, fine. Chavil Yama Techelta de Bavel. Chavil Yama, this is the name of this place in Bavel, is the Techeles, like the finest part of Bavel. Shunya Beguvia Techelta de Chavil Yama, and the Chavil Yama, which I guess is a region. The Shunya and Guvia are the best parts of that province. Ravina Amar Af Tzitara. Tzitara is also considered the best part. Meaning, I guess that you think the Yichus and Bavel is good. This is where it's really, really good. Tanya Lami Hachin was also in a Brisa. Hanan ben Pinchas Omer. Chavil Yama Tkel to the Bavel. It also agrees that Chavil Yama is the best region. Shunya Beguvia Tzitara. To the Chavil Yama. And these places are the best part of that region. However, now that's like in the past. But now, like these places have Kutim mixed into their genealogy. Below, but the Gemara says not what Rav Papa says is not true. It's not that this thing about Kutim. It's not that Kutim have married into these places of Bavel. Actually, the story is that there was once a Kutim wanted to marry into the Jewish community. They didn't permit it. So actually, they do have still the best. Or they tried that. There was an attempt to reach their solid yichus, but it didn't work. My Chavil Yama, where is this place called Chavil Yama? It's called it's a region of the river Pras, the Euphrates, near Bursi. However, Yama Lahu, Anamin Shot Mishot. A certain man came to the rabbis and said, I'm from this place, Shot Mishot. Amar Yisrael, Nathal, Rabbi Amar Yisrael said, Shot Mishot Ben Naharos, that's a place that's between the Euphrates and the Tigris. So Gemara says, he ben Naharos Maihi. So like, what? Like, what's he saying? Amar Abai Amar Chama Baruch Amar Yosi Baruch Abai said, Ben Naharos Hare he could go Yuchsin. In other words, he wasn't saying trying to locate it geographically. He was trying to say, like, that's the heart of Bavel, right? And if you're going to say that Bavel is the best place for Yichus, then he's saying the Shot Mishot is just as good as the main area of Bavel. And so the Gemara explains that. One second. Yeah. Where is this Shot Mishot place located? Amar Yochanan, May Ihi Dekira Leel. It's upstream from Ihi Dekira. Okay, so now we know. Amar Yochanan, Adma Barta Degiz. Rav Yochanan said that, didn't Rav Yochanan say there was the border of the Bavel for Yuchsin was a different place? So how can you say it's further upstream is just as good? There's like there's a strip of land that connects it to the main part of Bavel. So similar to statements about Eretz Yisrael, if you're trying to figure out if the boundary is here, but somewhere beyond the boundary is included, you kind of draw, you take your Sharpie and you draw a little bubble that includes it with the main body.
Are there any maps that identify these places that are accurate? Steinsaltz
Well, I don't know. I mean, there are a couple
they
pages ago,
don't.
there was a map in the art scroll, but it notes that some of these are just speculative. I noticed that they translated Bursi as Bursif, so I assume that there is a place called Bursif that they're assuming is the same place.
It's called Bursa today, but I don't know if it's the
Oh,
same.
is there? Uh-huh.
Yeah.
It could be a typo. Amar Ravika Barabi Amar Chananel Amar Rav. Ravika said, Chaldon Nihavgad Harehi Kigoliach. And these two other places are also as good as Baba. Amar Abaye Lothit Sule. Don't listen to him. Yavama hit enough house. And he's only saying this because he was required to because his brother passed away with no children and left a widow, and he wanted to perform the yibum. Um, and so that person, that woman, was from this place, and so he's just trying to establish a tradition that she is from good yichus. Amalei atudidihi. Okay, so Ravika said, like, what? You think I'm doing this for my personal? Because you think I'm saying this? Like, this isn't. I didn't make this up. Rav Chananel, I hear from Rav Chananel. Azul Shalil Rav Chananel. So they went and asked Rav Chananel. Amalu talking about Rav Halzon Nihavand. He Kigola Leos, and he confirmed the statement. Upliga Rav Rakana, he disagreed with Rav Abba. Tell Rav Rakana, might deceive Yanchem, Bachlach, Havor, Nahar, Goza, and Varemadai. This is talking about the resettlement that the king of Assyria did when he exiled the people from the 10 tribes of northern Israel. Excuse me. These are the places that he dispersed them to. So Chalatzu Chalzon, Chavarzu Hadyav, Nahar Gozan Zuginzak, Hamadan V'Chavrosea, Arimadai Zuchamadan V'Chavrosea. So he's identifying these biblical names with contemporary names. Yarimila Zuni Havan V'Chavrosea. And some say that Arimadai is this place in the Havan, and it's nearby towns. My Chavrosea, what does that mean, nearby towns? Shmuel, Krach, Mushli, Closely, Vurumki. These are the names of the nearby towns to Nahava. Amar Yochanan, V'chulam, Lisal. He says that the reason these are listed by the Tanakh are to tell you that they're like these are places that do not have good Jewish yichus. In other words, it makes sense to think that if people are exiled to a place where there aren't any Jews, there's going to be some mixing of bloodlines, shall we say. So why do we bring that whole statement? Because one of the places named was Mushri. So he appears to be trying to say that Mushri and Mushkini is the same place. Mushkini is like the Gola, like Bavel, which is a good place for Yichus. Ella Mushkini Chud. No, it must be Mushkini Chud, Mushkini Chud. They're two different places. But let's Ilin Befume Ben Shine. So this is a pasuk from Daniel, referring to a dream or vision that he had. There was this beast that he saw that looked like a bear, and 3 ribs were in its mouth between its teeth. So this was supposed to symbolize the bear is the Persian Empire, and it's eating. It's got 3 ribs in its mouth or between its teeth. These are these 3 places, the 3 ribs. They were, I guess they may have been border areas. Sometimes they were swallowed up by the Persian Empire, and sometimes they were outside, like either they were in its mouth or in its teeth. inside it or just outside it. And there was another beast similar to the bear. Tani Rabbi Yosef, Elu Parsim she'ochlin shosin kedov. These are the Persians who would eat and drink like a bear. Umasurbalim kedov, and they're fat like a bear. Umagadlin seir kedov, and they're hairy like a bear. Ve'elam manucha kedov, and they're restless. They keep pacing like a bear. Ravami ki hava chaze parsa derachi v'amar hainu naida. And when Ravami would see a Persian riding a horse, he would say, "Look at this wandering bear." Um, okay, I don't even know why we're digressing into this, but Amar Levi, Amar Le Rabbi Levi, Rabbi said to Levi, Harini Parsim, show me some Persians. Amalei, Domim L'chayolo Shalbeis David. They look like the soldiers of David Hamelach. In other words, we look for somebody that's that's clearly a warrior. Then you'll see a Persian. Harini Chabarin, show me people who are Chabarin. Domim L'malach Chabalach. They look like destructive angels. Harini Ishmaelim, show me Arabs. Domim L'seirim Shalbeis Achise. They like the demons in the bathroom. Harini told me the Chachamim of Babel, and what do the Talmid Chachamim in Babel look like? Domim Malachei Sheretz. They look like the angels, like God's angels, ministering angels. Nafshe de Rabbi, when Rabbi was dying, Amar, he said, Hamanya Ika Bavel. There's a town in Bavel called Hamanya. Kul Amonai. It's full of Amonai. In other words, not good yichus. Misagaria Ika Bavel. There's a place called Misagaria in Bavel. Kul Mamzera. They're all Mamzer in there. Birka, and he didn't mean it in a colloquial way. He meant that there are Jews there who can't marry into the Jewish community. Birka Ika Bavel is called a town called Birka in Bavel. Shnei Achim Yesh Shemachlifim Shoseim Zelzeh. There's two brothers there who are wife swappers, and so obviously, if you have to be suspect of the yichus there. Birsa de Satya Bavel, there's a place in Bavel called Birsa de Satya. Hayom Saru Me'achrei Amacham. Today they have strayed from God. The Akpe Pura B'Chavrei B'Shabsa. And what are they doing? Because on Shabbos, it happened once that the fish pond overflowed, similar to what happened in the Central Park Zoo a couple of weeks ago, where the excuse me, the seals escaped because of flooding. And so there's fish swimming down the street, so the people came and they caught the fish. The Shamtinu Ravachai B'Rav Yoshe, and Ravachai excommunicated them Vishtamud, and then as a result they became apostates, like they left the Torah path. Akward Agmai Bavel. So this is part of his deathbed passing on of traditions or information he had about these places. Akward Agma in Bavel, and there's a place called Akward Agma in Bavel. Adabar Ava Yeshmar. There's a man there named Adabar Ava. He may have been saying this man was just born. Hayom Yoshe B'Cheko Shel Avram. And he's sitting today in the lap of Avram Avinu. So it either means that he's about to have his bris, and he's identifying the next Dalai Lama kind of thing, or it could mean that he's just praising him, that he's a worthy successor, a worthy descendant of Avraham Avinu, that maybe he was already mature and you should take note. Another explanation could be that he was about to die and about to meet Avraham Avinu. And Hayom Noah Rabbi Yehuda Bavel, and he also stated that today Rabbi Yehuda was born in Bavel, and this gives Diamar, as we learned, Kishemes Rabbi Kiva Noah Rabbi. When Rabbi Kiva died, Rabbi was born. Kishemes Rabbi Noah Rabbi Yehuda. When Rabbi died, Rabbi Yehuda was born. Kishemes Rabbi Yehuda Noah Rava. Shemesh Ravana Ashi. So in other words, Ein Tzadik Niftar Min Ha'olam, L'Lamdecha She'ein Tzadik Niftar Min Ha'olam Ad Shenibra Tzadik Kamosav. That when a tzaddik dies, there's already been his successor, as it were. This is kind of a Lamed Vavnik kind of teaching, that one great person passes, but another is born to take his place. Shenemar v'zarach Hashem v'shuvah Hashem, which is alluded to in the verse in Koheles, the sun sets and the sun rises. Ashla kosta shimshel shel Eli, v'zarach shimshel shel Shmuel Aramasi. Another application of this idea is that before Eli's sunset occurred, before Eli died, Eli the Kohen Gadol, Zarach Hashim Shel Shmuel Aramasi. Shmuel Hanavi was his son rose. So they, just as one was leaving the stage, the other appeared on the stage. Shneimar V'ner Elohim Terem Yichbe U'Shmuel Shochev. The story of Shmuel's first revelation is that the lamp was still lit in the Mishkan, and Shmuel was lying down, and God came to him and spoke to him. So the idea that the lamp was still burning is an allusion to the idea that Eli was still alive and Shmuel, but he was at the end of his life, and Shmuel began his career as a prophet. Siva Hashem Liakov Sviva Tzarav, and another pasuk illustrates what Rebbe was saying. God commanded to Yaakov, meaning the Jewish people, Saviva Tzarav, that those around him, his neighbors, would be his enemies. That is an example of that is Homanya, which surrounds Pum Nahara. Pum Nahara, there was a Jewish community, and Homanya was an area or a town that surrounded it or that was adjacent to it, where they were persecuting the Jews. Going back to interpreting verses from Yechezkel, Vayhiki Navi Uplatayu ben Benaya Mes. Yechezkel says, while I was prophesying that Platayu ben Benaya had died, and I fell on my face and I cried out, Amar Hashem Elokim, woe God. One said that this was he was saying woe to God as a good thing, and one is a bad thing. Monday around Tova, to say it's a good thing, it means it's not that it was a good thing, but that he was saying that Platayu ben Yehoyada ben Benaiah was a good person, and he was mourning his death. In what way was he a good person? Kiha the Istandra Demeshan Hasane Hava. The ruler, the governor of Meshan, this place called Meshan, was the son-in-law of Nebuchadnezzar, the emperor. Shalachle, he sent him a message. He sent the message to the emperor. Mikulei hai shibya the Isislach, from all of these captives that you brought to Bavel, lo shadraslan dekai lakaman. You haven't sent me any. Like you brought home the spoils of war and all these slaves. You didn't send me any. So Nebuchadnezzar says, "Okay, I'm going to send you a bunch of Jews that were exiled." I'm like Platayu ben Benayo. So this guy Platayu ben Benayo advised Nebuchadnezzar, This is a bad idea. The Jews are the ones that are like worthwhile people. We should stay here and serve you directly and send somebody else out to the boonies, to your son-in-law. So as a result, the Jewish community stayed in Bavel and didn't go out to Meshan, which is further to the southeast, I believe, outside the Babylonian Empire. Vyamar Navi. So what the Yechezkel is saying is Misha Sotova B'Yisrael Yomus V'Chasiyamav, like he's mourning the death of this Platayu ben Benaiah, who died apparently as a young man. Mandiam, but the other says that Yechezkel was criticizing. He was critical of this Platayahu, the Siva Tavei Osi El Shar Beis Hashem HaKadmoni. Yechezkel was a prophecy that I was brought to the eastern gate of the temple, Hapona Kadima, which faces eastward. V'hine b'Pesach Hashar, Esrim Chamisha Ish, and there were 25 men at the gate. V'ara b'socha Masiya Azniya ben Azur, V'Yesplatayo ben Benayahu, Sarei Ha'am. And I saw these among the 25 people were Yaznia and this Platayahu who discuss it. And then it says, I was brought to the inner courtyard of the temple. And the door of the temple was dividing the ulam, like the lobby of the temple and the mizbeach, the altar. And there were 25 men there. Their backs were to the temple, and they were facing east. So, like, obviously, if they're facing east and they're on that side of the temple, then their backs are facing the temple. Why does it say specifically that they're also, why does it say redundantly that their backs were to the house of God? Let me show you my free atzmam. What it's saying is that they bared themselves, and they defecated towards the temple. So what's Yechezkel saying? Misha also Razos, and one of the people there was this Platayahu. So Misha Sarazos Bishra Yamu Samitasa. Like, why did he die a peaceful death? Someone who behaved so brazenly. Why did he die a peaceful death? That's why he's mourning. And we can conclude that Shmuel is the one that had this latter view. It was said in the name of Shmuel, but Mushkini is like Bavel. Mishan Lochashua. Mishan, they didn't even address it. Lo Mishum Avdus, Lo Mishum Mamzerus. They didn't talk about there being slaves there or mamzerim there. Elakonim Shahayuba like Pido Agushas. But what was known is that the Kohanim that lived there were not careful about marrying divorcee. So we don't have any tradition there generally about their genealogy being problematic, except when it came to the Kohanim and whether the Kohanim born there were still Kohanim. And Shmuel, so since Shmuel said this and was not concerned so much about the genealogy of Meshan, so he must not be the one who's of the opinion that slaves were sent to Meshan. Okay. The Olam Malach, but the word says no. Actually, you could say the other way. That Shmuel says Shmuel holds that Yechezkel was pleased about Platayahu, and in other words, that his good deed was sending the slaves to Meshan. Shmuel Tami, but Shmuel is consistent. Yomar Hamafkir Avdo Yatzil Cherus. If you don't need to formally or with a document to free your slave. You can just verbally free your slave. You don't need a document. Shanamar called Eved Ish Miknas Kasef, because the Torah says any slave or a man who is purchased with money, Eved Ish v'lo Eved Isha. So are we to understand that that means Eved Ish, the slave of a man? What about the slave who is owned by a woman? Is that not included? Ella Eved Sheish l'Rishus l'Rabba. What it's telling you is a slave who has an ish, who has a clear owner. Kari Eved, he's called an Eved Shein l'Rabba Rishus Olav Ein Kari Eved, but an Eved that is translated loosely that his master has renounced or given up his ownership, and we're understanding that to mean even verbally, is not considered a slave. So Shmuel could hold that even though the Jews' slaves were sent to Meshan, by doing that, they gave up on the ownership, and so those people were now freed slaves and no longer a problem for Yiddish. Says that is Rameir's opinion. So all of this stuff that we have been saying about Bavel turns out, according to Rav Yehuda, it applies everywhere, right? Bavel is not so special after all. So all these pages of material that we've had about Bavel being superior is not true. It's the same as any other country, which is like really strange, because like if we've had all of these quotes, all of these statements made by various Amoraim about the relative merits of this place or that place and where's the border and so on, he's saying it's all, you can ignore all of that. That's all according to Rav Meir, but the Chachamim say that all countries are the same. And which is a good thing, because the checking of genealogy obviously can become very problematic.
Well, in our times, it's impossible to do that.
Right. And that's related to another.
Be able to get married to anybody except for a convert, and there aren't enough converts, so the Jewish people would die out if we follow Rabbi here.
That's right, and it's in a way it's similar to the statement about like identifying who are these other biblical peoples like Amalek and so on. That the Gemara concludes that in the time of Sancheriv, like everybody was moved around. You can't somebody who lives in a particular area, you have no idea where his ancestry is from anyway. So basically, by rabbinic decree, you could understand this as by rabbinic decree, we're basically just ignoring all of these issues. We're assuming them away, which is a fairly kind of, I wouldn't say revolutionary, but a very strong statement about the power of the rabbis. Amemar Charle Rav Huna bar Nasan. Amemar allowed Rav Huna leminsav itza mechoziasa to marry a woman from this place, Choziasa, which is outside of Babel. Amar Rav Ashi. Rashi said, "My datach, what's your reason?" Rav Yehuda Amar Shmuel, is it because Rav Yehuda says the Dibur Meir of Al Chalmon and Kol Arachas B'Chesed Kashrus Einam? This is because you hold that all countries are the same. The Ha Be Rav Kahana Lamasne Hachi, but according to Rav Kahana, they agreed with Rav Meir. Ube Rav Papa Lamasne Hachi, and Rav Papa also. Be Rav Zvid Lamasne Hachi. Like nobody agrees with you. All the great Gedolei Hadar, they all think that Bavel is special. So how come you're allowing this person to marry outside of Bavel? I feel Hachi Lucky Blue name, but I really wasn't convinced. Mishum de Shamil Le Rav Zvid in Arda, because he had a different he heard different from Rav Zvid. Okay, that you're telling me Rav Zvid says that Bavel is special. I heard from Rav Zvid that otherwise it's not special. Rabbi Stan, Mamzerin Nasine Tahorim La'asi Lava. Wonder if there's a good place for us to stop here.
You can keep on going.
No, sorry.
You can keep on going.
Yeah, okay. In the future, in the time of the Messianic age, Mamzerim and Nesinim will become tahar, will become pure. Divrei Rabbi Yossi Rav Meir Omer ein tahar. Rav Meir says not so. Rav Yossi halok for an Emar v'zaraktu leichem mayim taharim v'tahartem. Doesn't say in the Torah, I will sprinkle you with pure water and purify you. So I'm understanding that as the tahara becoming purified from mamzerus. Amalei Rav Meir kishu omer mikol tumosechem mikol gilulechem v'lo min mamzerus. No, it's specific from your tuma and from your being defiled, but that's to exclude purifying mamzerus. But then it concludes, I will purify you. That includes again purifying from mamzerus. Okay. Bishlam Rav Meir, according to Rav Meir, it's unclear what it means, by the way. That does that mean that we're just gonna abolish the category of mamzerus, or does it mean that somehow the Eliyahu or the Mashiach or someone will be able to clarify that none of these mamzerim were really mamzer, which would be pretty strange.
Well, in our
State.
lifetime, we had Rabbi Moshe Feinstein who
Mhm.
purified mamzerim. It's famous for that.
Uh-huh. Okay, so maybe that, yeah, maybe that would be someone with the authority who can find a legal justification or a legal hook to permit all mamzerim, which yeah. Um, okay, but again, it's clear that the Gemara has this very ambivalent, or I wouldn't even say ambivalent, I would say a discomfort with the whole idea of mamzerus and the need to not apply that category to people if at all possible.
You know, with Rabbi Meir, there's so much question. Almost everybody would be a mamzer. So it would be the people of unflogged lineage will have trouble getting married.
That's true. But then what do you do in the meantime before the Moshe Mashiach, right? As you pointed out, it would get hard to find somebody to marry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we Bishlam Rav Meir, I understand according to Rav Meir that just said that mamzerim remain mamzerim even in the Yemos Mashiach. Hainu Dechsiv Yashav Mamzer Ba'Ashdod. The Navi Zechariah um, talks about the Yemos Mashiach and says that a mamzer will live in Ashdod, like outside of the Jewish population. So that makes sense. El Rav Yossi, my Yashav Mamzer B'Yashav. According to Rav Yossi, since there won't be Mamzerim anymore, so what does it mean in the days of the Mashiach? In the future, the Mamzer will live in Ashdod. Rav Yosef, so he understands it as Rav Yosef did. Yasvun Beis Yisrael LeRochatzon Ba'arahon. That the people will dwell with security in their land, where they once would have been considered like mamzerim, who would have been considered outsiders. Now they'll be able to live in Ashdod. Okay, a bit of a stretch or a reinterpretation. Okay, I think this is a good place to stop right here.
Actually, do the
Oh,
halakha.
just yeah, yeah. Amar Rabbi Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yehuda says the halacha is like Rabbi Yossi. And Amar Rabbi Yossi, if you left Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Amar Shmuel, halacha Rabbi Yossi. If Rabbi Yehuda hadn't said that, Rabbi Yossi Eliyahu, mapik minan savrane kolarin. Then Eliyahu would be able to come and remove all of these problematic people from us. So either you hold that they're not mamzerim anymore, or that it wouldn't be a problem somehow. Okay.
Interesting that Rabbi Yehuda has, or Shmuel has to say that because in a dispute between Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Meir, the halacha never follows Rabbi Meir.
Yeah. Interesting. Good point. But again, it's a thorny topic, and clearly there's something motivating the Gemara to or the rabbis to not to look too closely at it.
Right. Yasher Koach.
All right. Have a good day, everybody.